Hello, all of you beautiful souls. Peace on earth and love and light to you. I am Gabrielle-Ether. Welcome to my channel. So as I'm saying my name just then, it just really, it really sparked something in me. Because I remember when I was first given that name and how I didn't know, I had no clue. Not one clue what an ether was. The only thing I knew was that Nas song. And I remember at the very beginning of my spiritual journey, I could not even find the definition of ether. I was just always finding something very negative. And then when I found out what it was, and honestly, ether is very broad and still a little hard for me to understand. If anyone feels like they can break it down more, then let me know. Where I can get more information from, let me know. Because I still feel like I'm ever learning, especially when it comes to the ether. And also, Gabrielle. I know when it came to Gabrielle, it gave me two meanings of Gabrielle. It gave me the meaning to Gabrielle in the Hebrew language and the American language. And I don't want to get it backwards, but I think in Hebrew it meant God gives strength. No. In America it meant, in Hebrew it meant woman of God. And then in America, it meant God gives strength, or vice versa, but that's what it means, okay? Or vice versa. I just can't really just think of what it means, but sometimes I remember my name, sometimes I remember my daughter's name whenever I need to. Because my daughter's name is Israel, and I named her Israel for a reason. I was thinking about her name this morning, too. And one of the reasons why I named her Israel, because I felt like she was the new Israel. And that was just one reason. I was initially led to her name because by the time I had her, I was already out of religion. But I kept hearing the story of David in the Bible. I don't know when this video is going to come up, but look at my biblical character video that's coming up. But David, wasn't it David? I think it was David in the Bible. I'm just not good with all this smoke, you guys. I know people be. This is just a little part of my ancestor altar. It's not the whole thing, but it really sets the atmosphere. And I've never been keen on smoke. Just me. I've never been. But bear with me. It smells good though. But when his name was changed to, after he had fought that angel, and his name was changed to Israel, and I immediately fell in love with that name, Israel, and I was like, that's my baby. That's my baby's name, and she's gonna remind me of when to just keep moving, to keep pushing when things get hard. And it seems like whenever I have to talk about her name, then it's always a time where I have to remember to keep pushing and keep going. Blessings come after the storm. And then I knew that she would be the new Israel. That's why this video is here. You guys, sometimes I don't understand, well, with that being said, that's why I'm glad that, me and my daughter have these Hebrew names, and I made sure, I named her a Hebrew name. But sometimes that's why we have to be careful, but it does not mean that you can't get information. But sometimes I wonder, when I watch these people who talk so much about their ancestors, and first of all, let me say this, I watch some people who talk about ancestors and they are so good, and I love them. And it doesn't matter what they believe. When you have a message from your ancestor, that ancestor is going to come through regardless to what they believe and what you believe. At the end of the day, I don't I'm not judging anybody for what they believe, because some people are just going to comprehend, you know, they're just going to comprehend what their mind can comprehend, just like me. I'm going to comprehend what my mind is going to comprehend. So you can't judge anybody. But sometimes, you guys, that's why this video is here. That's why I'm making this video. I wonder, for those who connect with their ancestors so much, why haven't their ancestors told them who they are? Why haven't they revealed to them who they are? I really believe some people have heard Africa their whole life, and they've never went to their ancestors and just asked, are we African? Or do you just assume we're African because we are black and we have this color in our skin? Then another word we have to get rid of is this melanin word, because melanin does not mean pigmentation. It does not mean that. What gives us the color in our skin is carbon. We're carbonated beings, not melanin. And it's just another thing that this world has made up to keep us so-called black people, I don't like that term either, away from who we really are. Aboriginal, indigenous people, who we really are. And if you think about it, well, let me say this first. When I first started working with my ancestors a while ago, I didn't know I was working with my ancestors. I still feel like I'm pretty much new when it comes to working with my ancestors, and I've never done ancestor videos because I didn't have a clue on how to do ancestor, on how to even talk to ancestors at first. I used to be very scared when people said something about ancestors. Your ancestors want to talk to you. I used to feel like dead people? No. But oh my gosh, you guys, how much have I grown? I talk to dead people all the time, even the ones I don't even want to talk to. Like, I am not even a medium, and they come through sometimes because I have to talk to people. Anyways, oh my gosh, how much have we grown? Okay, give yourself a pat on the back. It doesn't even matter what we're talking about right now for how much you've grown. Period in life. Okay. So, but sometimes I wonder, who are they talking to? Because when my ancestors first started coming to me, they wanted me to know who I was at first. And I remember having a vision years ago, and that vision said, we are not African. It straight up said that. And then I was like, it's like a voice, and then I heard, then it was me, my voice. I said, I don't believe we're African either. Now at that time, I didn't know this was just a vision. This was like a vision that I had, a closed vision that I had. I woke up, I didn't know what that meant. I instantly started to look for. I started to see on YouTube, there's videos called "The African American is Not African." I started off like that. I got into a lot of this Hebrew Israelite stuff, even though I never fed into their religion. Hebrew Israelites, I think the Hebrew Israelites, the people who call themselves that and they are a religion, they do too much for me. I never got into that, but they do shed a lot of the truth. Some of it, in my opinion. But I started to look at that, and then, because this is what this message is about, not really telling you who you are, but for you to find out who you are. And I don't know if some people are just not listening. Some people got it right. Some black people do have, especially with all this mixing involved, do have some African lineage. But then look at what that word comes from. Africa. Look at what that word even comes from. It's like we don't even pause sometimes. We don't even think sometimes. Like, we just assume that only black people are from Africa and originally come from Africa. We just assume that because we heard it growing up. We came out of these public schools. Now, some people have actually done the research, and they feel like through my research and findings, I believe that all humans came out of Africa. And through your research and findings, if that's what you find out for yourself, I can't tell you no different. You know, what I believe there's factual evidence to prove that we are not from out of Africa. You have to even ask yourself, where did this word Africa even come from? You know, and this map that they give us that says Africa did not look like the same map like centuries ago. You know, where we're at now, it didn't look the same back then. So we can't even say that we're from a place that didn't even look the same, that looked different years and years ago. So how can you say that? I heard this African man talk about, he said to me, when people say, he said, as an African, is how he put it, you know, like if he could put the quotes up, he would, but that's how he said it. And he said, when I hear the word Africa, he said, I think you're speaking English. He was like, because people in Ghana, they call where they're living at, and he said this word, I can't speak in that Ghana language, and he said the word. And he said, and if you ask my mama, who does not speak English at all, anything about Africa, and you say the word Africa, she's going to say, what is Africa? And he says, because to me, when you say the word Africa, he said, I think you're speaking English. Because we have to watch out what people are saying, our translations, what they are not. You can't just say Africa is a translation for whatever people, and then in this so-called Africa, people in different parts of this so-called Africa would pronounce where they're living at differently. But we cannot just say, just because we've heard it. And when you're a spiritual beings, you guys, then we tap into things of the spirit. We hear everything of the spirit. That's why we can't believe anything that they have given us. They've stripped away who we are. They took away our culture. And a lot of our culture, they gave it to the Africans. And when I'm saying that, when sometimes people cut out to these guys and goddesses, and they're calling them Africans, like Oshun. And they're calling them Africans because that's the only thing that they know. That's what's written on some of these tarot cards. But at the end of the day, they're not even African, they're Hebrew. Because all black people are Hebrew. But when you are a spiritual being, you're supposed to be able to tap into these things. And then people try to debunk people just because they want to be right. Or just because it's something about their self-esteem that they cannot let go of being from this Africa tribe. My ancestors knew to come at me like this with this truth because they knew that I've always understood you cannot have, when you're in this spiritual journey, you cannot have a hold to anything. You have to let go. You have to be in a position where you can let go of any belief at any time. You cannot hold anything so dear to you. I've always been like that, though, since I was little. So when they approached me with this African stuff, I was always like, you know, I wasn't scared. Sometimes people were just scared to look into that because they are scared that everything that they've been teaching and putting out was a lie. I used to be one of them, what they call super saints. And I used to preach this Christianity belief so much. But once I found out that it was false, in my eyes, I saw that it was false, I started preaching that. I had to tell everybody, I'm sorry, this is not the truth. This is not what I believe. And there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes people just want to prove that they are right. You need to get out of your ego. You need to get out of your pride. And you need to find some higher self-esteem. If you really want to know who you are, and if you really care about sending the truth out to the people. Now, when it's all said and done, if you really go after what you're looking for, you're not looking for them to tell you that you're African. Because some people go out and look for the truth and they just look for something to prove them right. No, you go out and you look for the truth with the open mind. See who we are. See that we were the first people here. Like I heard today, this is the motherland. Where we are right now, I'm in the United States, not Africa. They feed us these lies. They don't want us to know who we are because we're so special. Us carbonated beings, us black people, us Aboriginal indigenous people. We're so special. And if you think about it, I was about to make this point earlier. Now here it comes. If you think about it, most of us black people have heard. I have Indian in my family. I have this Indian in my family. I have that Indian in my family. And then they feel like some type of way is stopped now. Because I used to think like this. And then, but no one has ever heard, I have never heard of any of my ancestors being African. The only thing I've heard is that society calls us African Americans, which does not exist. It is not a word. Afro-Latinos, it is not a word. It doesn't exist. So my son came back knocking at the door and I lost my train of thought. I know I was talking about there was no such thing as an African American, Afro-Latino, whenever they put these afros afro at the beginning of these words. But I haven't heard of that. Like I said, for some black people, definitely you have some African ancestors if you want them so bad. If you want, sometimes it just seems like they just want to be African so bad, as if when they hear, I think what it is people hear Africa and their mind hears black. They hear Hebrew and their mind hears white. They hear Indian and their mind hears something other than black, you know? And focus. And I think that's what it is. As if Africans are the only black people. No, sometimes you can look at the Bible as a book of reference. When the Bible even speaks of how the Hebrews and the Europeans looked alike, but they were not the same. No. The verse where Paul was confused as a European and not, Egyptian and not a Hebrew. If you do your research, Hebrews were dark-skinned people that were my color. If you do your research, the Indian was my color. They didn't start looking what you think an Indian looks like. They didn't start looking like that until they started mixing. What you think a Puerto Rican look like, they didn't start looking like that until they start mixing. The Dominicans, that's why they look so black sometimes. That's why when you look at them, you can't tell they black until they start speaking sometimes. I mean, they're any other color until they start speaking sometimes. Because we all look the same. Why? Because we all are the same. The Dominicans come from the tribe of, I cannot think of the tribe names right now. I always get those mixed up. I'll put them in the description. The Puerto Ricans, I can't think what tribe that it came from. But if you want to be a part of a certain tribe so bad, you are a part of a tribe. One of the 13 tribes. And a lot of this stuff that they say is African culture, which is a beautiful culture. But some of it is not even theirs. They get a lot of stuff from from the Hebrew people that has been erased, that has been stripped from us and taken from us. And one thing that we have to do is find out who we are. That's what this message is just all about, finding out who you are. Finding out who you are, but you don't go into the situation trying to defend what you always know. You go to the situation being open-minded. Okay, because you don't have to believe like me. We're all entitled to believe different things, you know. I'll love you the same. I mean, people that I have one friend that's like this, die hard, you know, think we're African American, all this stuff, and we didn't have debates and all this stuff. And I mean, I still love him to death, because what he found out is his research and it's of his own. He's wrong. That's all I'm gonna say, though. I don't want this video to be too long, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, to each their own. Everybody's just not gonna comprehend things the same. But I really want to put this out there because I know it can help a lot of people. You know, like I was saying, a lot of Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, they didn't start getting lighter and looking, you know, so-called different until they start mixing. But most black people have heard, and you know you've heard, you have Indian in your family. I have not met not one black person yet that hasn't said, yeah, my grandmama told me we have Indian in our family. And I have not met not one black person that has told me, yeah, my grandmama said we have Africa in our family. I haven't. Now, I have seen on TV where people say, yeah, you know, I know that my people came from this part of Africa, that part of Africa, the Jamaicans, Hebrew people. Yeah, and that's all I have to say about that. I want you guys to look up who we really are. And most of us, we were already here. We were here first. And we weren't looking like Pocahontas. We was looking like me until they started mixing. And I'm not going to make that. I was about to make another point, but I'm just not. Because this video is really just to say, find out who you are. Find out who you are. Okay? And because if you really connecting with your ancestors and you really want your ancestors to work with you and do things for you, then you will find out who you are so you can know who you're talking to. That is all. That is all, y'all. Continue to come and grow with me and subscribe so we can become a part of each other's tribe. It don't matter what color we are. We can still become a part of each other's tribe, you know? And you guys know why I say that? Because I don't like to say my subscribers. It make me feel funny. Sometimes I just say the subscribers because I feel like when you're subscribing to this channel, you're subscribing to this channel for, you know, spiritual growth, knowledge, education, or whatever. And I don't think it's me. It's what I bring, you know? And I'm just a vessel. So that's why I don't like to say my subscribers, just to make me feel some type of way. That's just me in my head, okay? And when you guys comment and we talk back and forth, and some of you guys I've been talking to for a long time, I become a part of your tribe also. So that's why I say that. So they say it's very important to like these videos to get them out there and stuff. Y'all watch Dan Calloway. That's one person that I watched that everything that he puts out has not failed me yet. If you really want to know and you ain't scared of dropping this African thing, okay, watch Dan Calloway, okay? That is all. Like this video. Bye.